first question is, what's Innovate Lagos? Please provide an overview, brief history.
Well, Innovate Lagos has a very interesting history. But perhaps before I go into the history, its objective I can summarize hopefully this way. It's a government-driven initiative to unleash the powers of innovation in the formal and the informal sectors of our economy, to drive growth, to expand economic opportunities, with innovation as the linchpin. We have seen that countries and societies that have embraced innovation have transformed very quickly and have done so successfully. We have also seen that innovation is not necessarily something novel to this part, but there's clearly no articulated policy to champion innovation as the driver for unlocking economic opportunities. And at the heart of innovation, evidently, are skills. So it's another platform of education, but targeting a partnership between government, between private sector, and between the academia. Now, its history is long, interesting, and it started about 3 years ago when I gave a speech at Harvard University, and then I met a gentleman, Professor Kalisto Juma, extremely patriotic to the cause of Africans, committed resolutely, and this was where the beginnings were had. It led to a Harvard program, executive program that was organized in Lagos, and from there, so many things opened up. We started an innovation council. We also set up a Lagos State Tertiary Education Research Council. But the merger of the two councils together is now the hub around which Innovate Lagos is built. So as I said, it's a platform for unlocking the riches and the opportunities and the skills that evidently lie abundantly in Africa, Nigeria, and especially in Lagos.
Sir, Lagos has become renowned worldwide as a hub for innovation. Why is innovation important to Lagos State, and what are some examples of how Lagos is leading Africa in innovation?
Now, there are three questions there. Lagos is hub. Yes, and perhaps it's to dimension the reason why Lagos is recognized as a hub. Nigeria's location on the continent of Africa is strategic. And the most strategic is the location of Lagos in Nigeria's territorial boundary. And when you look at it, Lagos is about 6 hours from many parts of the world where growth is being unleashed today. The Middle East, South Africa, Brazil, Europe. So we sit at a most strategic place where you're 6 hours from almost every key continent. The only continents that are probably far away from us, the Australian continent and the North American continent, which is a 12-hour journey, 14-hour journey. So the strategic location is one. And I think that in answer to the question why innovation is strategic is that those who do not innovate will atrophy. Society is so fluid, so dynamic, changing. There's so many things that we do today that were unthinkable 100 years ago. Barely 200 years ago, a little over 100 years ago, the only way we could travel was camels and donkeys. Now we are flying. And some people are saying we can go into space and come out again and reduce the journey time between Lagos and Europe by about as half. So innovation is the essence of the human civilization. And therefore it is important for us as a people to recognize that we must continue to push the frontiers of innovation, because essentially what we're doing is pushing the frontiers of know-how in order to improve ourselves. The success stories we have had there, quite a lot really. If you look at the way we lived our lives, 10 years ago. So many things have changed. And a lot of gratitude must go to our people in the way that out of the challenges that they have dealt with, you will see that they have become creative as of necessity. Now, our role as a government is not to be reactively innovative, but to be proactively innovative. People have reacted and they have done well. But we think that if we lead from the front as a government, bring the critical stakeholders together, we can do a lot more quickly. We manage security much more efficiently by being creative. We manage transport much more effectively by creating a BRT, bus rapid transit system, using the same infrastructure, creating a segregated lane to move more people efficiently. We've done quite a lot of other things. We've improved the quality of our schools simply by thinking and providing a platform where we saw that people wanted to get involved, but there was no structured platform. So we created a policy of government called Adopt a School. And it has had tremendous success in providing opportunities down the line. And the list is long. And apart from government, we've seen what Nollywood, for example, has done simply out of necessity. They've been creative on their feet. Now you can imagine what they would do if they had support. So the story of creativity and innovation and the pursuit of knowledge is not a new story here. What is new here is that a government is now leading it, creating a partnership between the stakeholders, the academia, and government from the front in a proactive rather than a reactive way.
Listen, you already mentioned Nollywood, which is the next question.
Oh, I see.
The Nollywood Hub is one of the first initiatives to stem from InnovateLagos. Why Nollywood? And what impact does the Lagos State government hope to achieve with Nollywood Hub? And why is the success and development of Nollywood important to Lagos State?
Well, you will see, therefore, that it was inevitable that I mentioned Nollywood because that is an industry first after my heart, because I give so much credit to those young men and women for creating something out of really what was not existent. Today, that industry creates revenues of about $500 million. Now, but it can do a lot more. In its unstructured and its informal birth, it has built to that size. Now, it can do a lot more. There are certain things that are missing. We see progressively, as they sought to innovate, moving from VHS tapes to compact discs, they lost revenues. It was easier to pirate and steal their work. And the voices got to us as a government because they kept saying, we're going out of business, we're going extinct. Now, as a government, I am worried. If that industry that is creating so much opportunities for people which didn't have them is going into very stormy waters, it must have consequential social impacts for me as head of government. So, and I said, look, let us talk. What can I do as head of government? And that was the story of Nollywood Hub, an innovative solution to address piracy. We have come to terms with the fact that you cannot eliminate piracy, but you can certainly reduce substantially its success and keep money in the hands of people who use their talent to create wealth. So what Nollywood Hub is doing first is to structure film production and cinematography generally. Government is making an investment there to train film producers and film practitioners. About a little over 100 of them are going to be trained. I believe we have even completed that training program. The next step is to help them now set up community-based cinemas where distribution of their films can be carried out in a much more structured and easy to monitor way, and in a way that makes it more piracy resistant. I think the third step in the process was to create a film fund to help them produce and distribute their films. And finally, of course, the continuing research and creativity that goes into film production. So that's what Nollywood Up is in a nutshell. It's again something that empowers film producers to find an anchor around which to build their own future and prosperity.
Thank you, sir. This interview, what I'm about to say is probably not going to be in the interview because I'm concerned, I'm part of the all. But Your Excellency, within the next maybe few weeks, I think all the reports and recommendations will be forwarded to you for government. But the most important thing is how Your Excellency can fast track some of these decisions, because I would love, within the lap of your administration, to actually commission and declare open the first set of cinemas. For instance, I'm particularly hopeful that before the end of this year, Your Excellency will actually be the foundation stone of at least 5 of those cinemas, because again, it will be part of the innovation and the spirit behind Lagos, because I'm sure other states will copy that example, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well, is there any other thing you'd like to add, sir?
Well, except to thank people like you for leading from the front, really, and for believing in spite of the odds. And really, that has engendered a lot of hope. And I know the power of hope, that with it, we can move mountains.